Yay, we're live. Sami.
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 Hey.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Let's see. Hi.
So we're Bobby and Miruna,
I'm Miruna.
and this is Sami.
This is Sami, as you know.
He's a superstar, but he doesn't seem too interested in the live right now. He's watching the neighborhood.
The street is way more interesting.
Yeah. For the first few minutes, because this is our first live, we'd like to understand how it works. So please let us know if you can hear us. Somebody said, Rhonda said in the chat.
Rhonda, hi Rhonda. Hi.
Just so you know, you need to be a subscriber for a minute to be able to write a comment, because this way we can remove the spam bots from commenting.
I can hear you guys. Hi Chrissy.
So yeah, this is perfect. It's great that you hear us. The other thing is, please like this video because it helps the live to show up in other people's feeds, so that they know that we are live and talking. And there is one more thing. Oh yeah, so the comment thing. You can write anything in the chat. Just if you're not subscribed or if you're not logged in into YouTube, you need to do that and subscribe for a minute. That's it, and then you can comment.
Hi Sonia.
We already have the first question.
Sami is not neutered. He's not yet.
Yeah, we'll tell you. We'll tell you in a moment.
We will answer the questions a little bit later. We're just waiting for people to join in.
Just let us know where you're from first.
Hi Maria, our friend Maria.
Let us know where you're from first. It would be interesting for us to know. Oh, Sami
decided to move.
He just saw something really interesting on the road. Because
what's there?
Here where we are in Portugal right now, it's 7 p.m. So this is the time of the day where the entire neighborhood starts taking the dogs out, and Sami has his duty, his self-appointed duty is to watch everything.
Supervise the dogs who go for walks right now.
So he probably saw a dog.
Hi, Jelena. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Rook and Pawn. Thank you. Hi. So where are you guys joining from?
So look, we have Dublin. We have somebody from Chicago.
San Francisco.
That's Ukrainian. Surrey in England. Okay.
Oh.
Another Westie being the self-appointed guardian of the neighborhood, being there.
And let us know if your dogs are watching with you right now, because a lot of people are commenting on our videos saying that they watch our videos with their dogs. And I think that's so cute.
Yeah, so we have people from North Carolina, in the USA, from Portland in Maine. Okay.
Wow.
So we're happy that you hear us. I'm going to try to speak a little bit louder. Berkshire, UK. Okay.
Or so, Berkshire, I think you pronounce
Berkshire.
it. I don't know.
Berkshire.
How do you pronounce it?
Okay. Reiki
is watching. It's one of Sami's best friends.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Yeah, we're super excited to be doing this. And oh,
he just saw a dog.
Yeah.
We can see him as well.
This is Sami's favorite spot in the whole house. So we made him a spot with pillows and everything, so he can get comfortable. Sami, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, at this moment specifically, that's it. That's all he knows. This is everything he cares about.
And also, he just got a haircut today. We went to the groomer this morning, and he must have lost like a pound of fluff.
Yeah, we're preparing him for the flight, and this way we can already start. Yeah, he's getting a little bit annoyed. So
Hi from Cincinnati. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Allison. Okay. So I was wrong about Berkshire.
yeah,
Um,
were you?
yeah. Hi, Pat.
It says you're correct, Miruna. It sounds like Berkshire.
Like Berkshire.
Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Guys, thank you so much for joining us again. People continue to join. It's I told Miruna when we were thinking about this live that we would be happy if 10 people joined us in the live, and it's already more than 30 something.
Got 37 people. Yay.
Yeah. So
so we're preparing to travel to New York City. If you've been following our posts, you know already we're flying on Wednesday. So we got Sami his puppy cut so that he can, look smaller in his carrier bag on the plane.
And this is the reason for this is that when he was here like a puppy, he was like 6-7 months old. When we first traveled with him, he was really, really fluffy. And we had a problem. At some point, we almost didn't go on the plane because an official from the airline thought that he's too big. And luckily,
that was after the check-in. We went through the check-in, everything was fine.
We were boarding the plane.
Yeah, before boarding the plane, somebody decided that he didn't fit well. But that was mostly because he looked twice as big because of all the fluff. So ever since then, we've been grooming him just a few days before each flight to make sure that he looks his real size. So yeah. And wait, I've got some treats here. I've got some pumpkin treats. Pumpkin is his favorite. Uppa. He loves pumpkin, and he's not actually having any treats these days because he's on a diet. So pumpkin is pretty much the only thing that I had right now to give him.
And this is the second thing we do before we fly with Sami.
Okay.
So Sami is around 7.5 kilos, and most airlines have a limit of about 8 kilos to be able to fly in the cabin with your dog. Obviously, if you have a bigger dog, you can transport it in
cargo.
In cargo, but we try not to do that. We've heard some not so good experiences about that.
Yeah.
And we don't want to put Sami through something like that. So we try to fly with him in the cabin. So most of the airlines we saw have an 8 kilo limit.
Yeah, but there are some that have a 6 kilo limit, and then I heard that there are others that have like a 10 and even 12. But we've never, I don't think we found any airline for our travels. So every time that we flew, it was with an 8 kilo limit, and Sami's right under it. Normally he weighs 7.7.
So this is why he goes on a diet for about a week before we fly.
Yeah, the thing is that there were a lot of questions about that actually. The 8 kilo limit includes the bag as well, and his bag is like it's like 1 kilogram, 1.5, something like that. So yeah, but thankfully nobody ever weighs the bag in our experience anyway.
Yeah. 1 second. So we have questions in the chat. Like Hannah is asking something about the process of getting Sami. We will answer that. We'll first go through the flying checklist, and then we're going to answer the questions from the chat. Keep them coming. we're gonna go back to them. So don't worry about it. We're gonna answer the questions. Please keep them coming.
So let's see what people are saying. Okay, which airlines are you flying with? So we'll be flying with Delta.
Yeah. The reason why we're flying with Delta is we wanted to fly direct from Portugal to New York, and one of the only ones that fly direct is Delta. So
yeah, we wanted a direct flight because it's less complicated.
It's less complicated because of the layover. The layover, well, it's a hit or miss, and it makes the time spent in flight and in the airport a lot longer. We found some really cheap flights through Dublin, but it was like a 4 or 5 hours wait in the airport, and that would have made the flight, instead of 8 hours, the time it is now direct from Lisbon, it would have made it around 12, 13 hours, and that would have become a little bit difficult for Sami, because we are flying in the morning. We are flying at 10 a.m. And for 8 hours, usually at 10 a.m., he's okay to wait until around 6, 7 p.m. when he normally goes out.
Yeah, that was actually, I think that was the most asked question that we got, was how many hours is the flight and how do you prepare for that long without bathroom breaks, and how Sami handles the whole situation, of not going potty for such a long time. And that's the thing. It's about 8 hours, the flight itself, plus the delays, maybe a 10-hour window of him not going potty, basically. And he can hold it. Usually he can hold it that long. It's also during the day when we sit at home. This is pretty much the interval that he, more or less, that he spends without going potty anyway. So our flight is from 10 to 6, about
6 hour time,
hours,
so around one and a half New York time.
Yeah, so we're gonna take him right after doing the check-in. We're gonna take him for a walk outside of the airport. That's because the airport in Lisbon doesn't have a pet relief area inside. So we're just gonna walk him outside for him to do his business, and then right after we land, I heard that there is a pet relief in JFK Airport. So that's really, really great. Yeah, so I think he's gonna be fine. He's been on a long flight before. I think it was our first flight that with the layover.
Sorry, Karen on the chat confirms that there is pet relief at JFK. The biggest problem about the pet relief is if it is before or after immigration. Because if it's after immigration, unfortunately, we had the experiences when we stayed for 2 hours in line in immigration, and that adds basically to the time that Sami needs to wait. So because it's our first time flying with a dog in the US, we don't know how long it's going to take. So hopefully the pet relief area is before immigration, so that we can go there, stay for like 20 minutes, wait for him, and then...
Does anyone have an idea? Maybe if you know, leave us a comment and tell us. But anyway, if not, we are gonna have one of those training pee pads with us as a backup, just in case. I always take one in case there's a delay, with the flight. I've heard at some point somebody told a story where they were stuck on the airplane and there was a delay, and anyway, they had a pee pad to use as a backup. So in case there's anything like that, I'm just gonna put it in in Sami's carrier bag, and he can just be in there. And then another backup plan that I have in case that he...
We have backups over backups over backups.
It's always good to have backups. In case that he does need to pee, even though he never needed before on flights, I'm gonna take him in the carrier bag in the bathroom on the airplane and take him out there and lay down a training pad so he can hopefully pee. But I don't think he will, because he never does. So On our first flight, the one that I was mentioning earlier, he was 7 months old, and the flight was 4 hours, then a 4 hour layover, and then another flight of an hour or something like that. So he held it for that whole entire time. And throughout the layover, we were walking through the airport, and I was laying down the pee pad on the floor, and I was like, Sami, go potty, go potty. And he just wouldn't do it. He just held it like a hero. Yeah.
A related question to the flight. So, pet, thank you for telling us. Be sure to reserve a pet in the cabin. They limit carry-on pets and they charge.
Yeah.
And this is quite interesting. In Europe, you pay for the pet at the moment when you book your flight. So basically, when you book your flight and you add luggage or anything additional, you add the pet and you pay the additional fee then. With Delta, and apparently this is something common with US Airlines, you book for yourself and then you need to call them and reserve a place for the dog in the cabin. And it's quite expensive, unfortunately. It's quite expensive. For Delta from Lisbon to New York is $200 each way. In Europe, we never paid more than 60 euros. Obviously, the length of the flight is bigger, so who knows? But just to give you an idea, we called Delta and we confirmed that he has a reserved spot on the plane, so we're good.
Yeah.
We're good with
we actually called twice. We called once like a month ago or something, right? To reserve.
No, 2 months.
2 months.
Basically,
ago.
when I booked in December.
Yeah, you called and you reserved, and then I called last week just to make sure that they have the reservation and everything's okay.
One more question in the chat. How do you keep Sami? So Helen is asking, how do you keep Sami happy and calm during the flight?
That is a good question. So I think that we are very lucky with Sami because he's very, very calm and well behaved on flights. He's been like that ever since he was a puppy. I mean, maybe it helped that his first flight when he was when he was 7 months old, and he got used to it. I don't know. Maybe it's also because we travel by car a lot with him, so he's used to traveling with us.
And he traveled with us since. I think we got him when he was 3.5 months, and he traveled with us like a week later for an hour or something in the car.
Yeah, through Portugal. And then we did road trips through Europe with him, like 12-hour long drives every day. And he's just very adaptable. And I think we're just really lucky with that. So a lot of people ask if we had to give him any tranquilizers or any pills for anxiety, basically. And no, we never had to give him pills. It's mostly because he's just really, really, really calm. And he sleeps throughout the whole flight. Usually he's in his carrier bag just sleeping.
And we intentionally book flights during his downtime.
Yeah.
Either at night or during the day after, in the second half of the morning, because his schedule, he basically wakes up at 9:10, he goes out 11 he goes out, he's active for like an hour, and then he sleeps until around 5, 6, 7 p.m. So we tried to fit all our flights in this specific schedule, because otherwise probably he doesn't become annoying necessarily, but he becomes restless. I think we had it once when he started he wanted out of the carrier, and we were lucky to be able to get him out. We had the free seat between us, and the stewardesses, they were okay with it. But we tried the same another time, and the stewardess told us to put him back in. So we need to prepare. I mean, flying with Sami is not easy. Let me put it this way. We want him to fly with us, but it's not easy. So you need to prepare quite a lot.
Yeah,
for it.
one thing that we do before the flight is we try to get him as tired as possible.
Yeah.
So one time I think that we walked for an hour with him around the airport. There was a green space. So I did zoomies with him. I played with him. I tried to get him to consume all that energy so that he would be tired on the flight and sleep. Yeah, so that I think that helps.
This is why we usually, the process that we have for going to the airport, we go as early as possible. Basically, we want to be one of the first people in the check-in line if there is no other possibility. So basically, we go with at least 2 hours before the check-in. We go there, we check in. It takes us around 5 minutes each time because they check his weight, they check his documents, like his passport and everything. And then we take around 30, 40, 50 minutes of just doing things with him outside of the airport before the security line, the security, yeah. This way, he gets enough activity, hopefully, so that by the time we're on the plane, he just wants to sleep.
Yeah. Plus, in the airport, you don't need to, at least in Europe, I don't know what it's like in the United States, you don't need to carry him around in the back. So he just walks on the leash.
Yeah.
And since it's a long walk to the gate and we walk a lot through the airport, that also gets him tired.
And also he meets a lot of kids in the airport, and because kids are so excited to see him because they don't really see dogs on airports, and he loves kids. He's excited, so he consumes a lot of energy that way as well.
Yeah, plus the sniffing and everything.
Helen is also asking if there are any special tests the vet has to check for to make sure Sami is suitable to fly.
So for flights in Europe is really simple because he just needs his dog passport. And
by the way, when we say flights in Europe, we're talking about the European Union.
Yeah.
We don't know yet what a flight from and to UK implies at this moment. We've never been there. We might want to go, but for us it might be actually easier to just go with the car through the Eurotunnel.
Yeah, especially since in the UK I don't think they allow dogs in the cabin, from what I know.
Yeah, in the airport.
In the airport, yeah. So and for the United States, he needed a rabies vaccine, which he gets anyway. He gets it every 3 years, and this year, actually in March, it expired. So it was perfect. He got his vaccine. It needs to be 30 days, at least 30 days before the flight. And that needs to go in his documents. So what other tests? No, just, we always do a checkup before flying. We always take him to the vet to make sure that everything is okay. But he doesn't need anything else except for the vaccine.
But check with the airline to see whatever they say on the page. And we actually called the Department of Agriculture in the States.
In the States, yeah.
Just to be sure.
Yeah, because that's the thing for us flying from Europe to the United States. It's more complicated than for someone who already lives in the United States. So we need to have certain documents, and every state has their own requirements. So for the state of New York now, we need a health certificate, which was very complicated to get, but we finally, I think we got it. And
it was complicated to get on the Portuguese side of things. It wasn't on the US side.
Yeah, with basically, long story short, Portugal didn't have this document, this form. They could not issue it because they didn't have it. So we had to call the Department of Agriculture in New York, and they sent us their certificate.
Now?
That's his indoor voice.
Yes.
He doesn't bark, he just growls. He saw a dog, of course.
Yeah. A dog that he doesn't really like, probably. No. Hey. Hey. Yeah. No?
No, you just went outside. We just went for a walk before this.
Data.
Data, Sami, data. His commands are all in Portuguese.
Yeah.
So
Data. Yes, data. Yeah. When he's so active, he doesn't really care. No.
so what other questions? Did I answer the previous question? What checkups he's doing?
Yeah.
So basically, yeah. Oh, so I called the airline. I was gonna follow up on that.
He needs to be. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. We know it's hard.
That's hard.
Yeah, so I called Delta last week just to confirm with them what documents you need for the airline, because you need, so when for this flight we needed some documents to enter the United States, but we also needed some documents for the actual airline that they check when we leave. So they confirmed that what he needs to have is the microchip, which he already has, the rabies vaccine, and the health certificate, basically.
So there is a question that says, isn't there a quarantine period?
Yeah, so because we are a rabies-free country, there's no quarantine required for Sami, thankfully, because that was one of the issues that we had also when we decided to take him on this flight. We checked to see if there was a quarantine. No, I don't know what it's like for countries that are, if you fly from a country that is not rabies free, then there are some other rules, and you need to check that with the airline.
It's also a different it's also a different behavior in terms of if you go there as a tourist or to immigrate. Basically, if it's more than 30 days, I think they act on it differently, and this is why we actually go there for 28 days just to avoid the 30 days thing, because I think we needed some additional documentation, and we didn't want to go into that. Fortunately, so the reason, another question was, why do we fly for so long? Why do we go there for so long?
Yeah.
We have family there, so
yeah, we have family who just moved there recently,
like
so
a year ago.
Yeah, a year ago. So we're finally visiting them. So that's why we're staying for a whole month, because we can stay with them.
I'm Frosty's aunt, says Angie. Does Sami shake? Oh, Frosty was shaking on his first flight as a puppy. Does Sami shake?
So yeah, because the answer is no. He never did that on flights. I think that dogs do that normally because of anxiety, which is normal. It's a whole new environment with a lot of smells and a lot of noises. He didn't do that, but I think it's normal if they do. I asked my vet about this, and she recommended CBD oil for calming them down a few hours before the flight. So I don't know if maybe this is useful for you. We've never tried it.
Just
wait, I just want to answer somebody's Allison is asking, is Sami's ear infection better now?
Yes.
And yes, it is. When we went to the vet this week, she checked and everything is great. He's infection free.
And actually, for us, it was quite important. And talking about the things that you need to watch for when you fly, the pressure problem that we have as people when we take off quickly, they have it as well. Doctors usually recommend to munch on something like chewing gum or anything like that. So it would be no, don't do that. So it would be really nice to have some treats for your puppy to munch on when you take off, and sometimes when you land, because
Let me go back. No.
this way, he by munching, he releases the pressure from his ears. So sometimes it can be painful for them. And for us, with him having the ear problem, the ear infection, we were actually a little bit worried about flying, because I had an ear infection several years ago because of diving, and
Scuba
it
diving.
was the sharpest pain I've ever felt. I didn't know that you shouldn't fly shortly after scuba diving, and I did, and it was really, really bad. So I assume that if a dog feels that, they will be really, really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
that's
keep
why,
that in mind as well.
yeah, that's a great tip, which we did that from the first flight. Somebody actually told us. We always have some food and some chewing sticks that we give him to chew, and so that he can relieve the pressure. And I give him that after takeoff and after landing or during.
Okay, so again, take a break in the questions and say thank you for everyone being here. It's already more than 60 people watching, which is more than we expected.
It's amazing.
We because it's our first time doing a live on YouTube. I don't really know where to see who is here.
Yeah, I don't know either. Look,
Yeah.
it's 60 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
So,
I don't know.
So we can't read.
But we can read your comments, and
Yeah.
thank you. And especially since I know that tomorrow is Easter for a lot of people. We actually celebrate Easter a week from tomorrow. But yeah, especially since it's Easter weekend, thank you so much for joining.
We're not some weirdos that decided we want to celebrate Easter next week, but we're Orthodox. Our religion is Orthodox, so because of that, the Easter it has like 1 or 2 weeks, depending on the year, difference in time. So, okay. Other questions, Mirna?
Yeah, will Sami wear his fashionable shoes in New York? Yes, he will. He hasn't been wearing them lately though, because they kind of broke. So he's worn them a lot for a long time, every day. So they broke. So I waited to get them when we go to the States. I'm gonna get a few pairs in different colors. Because it's very expensive to have them shipped from the United States to Europe. So I prefer to wait until we get there.
Just Gabby said, I got a Westie puppy yesterday. Congratulations.
Yay, congratulations. What, is it a boy or a girl?
And she says, or he says, any potty training tips that you used with Sami? Well, for the first week, we prayed a lot.
For the first, I think, few weeks, I don't remember exactly, but he would not pee outside, like ever. He would just be inside on the training pads.
Yes.
That was our mistake, that we didn't know. So we put training pads in every room. So he learned that that's where he's supposed to pee. And we had a really hard time potty training him because of that. It took longer than it should for dogs.
At some point, we traveled to a city close by, and he waited 5 hours to go and pee at some point.
Until we got back home. So basically, we went there. We went to the beach. Yeah. We walked everywhere, and then the ride home, he just did not pee at all. We even stopped on the side of the road at some point for him to pee.
I mean,
his belly was like so big.
And imagine we were in the middle of the city and Miruna in a small park, and Miruna was massaging his.
I was Googling, so I found on Google that you're supposed to massage their bladder to get them to go, So I was massaged. And there were cars passing by just looking at. What is she doing?
And Sami was like really small, Poor puppy.
Yeah, he had a.
And he got home, and he went straight to the pad, and
he peed so much that it just flowed everywhere outside of the pad on the floor. So if I could give you any advice, I would say try crate training. So get a crate and teach your puppy to stay in the crate whenever they're not playing, eating, walking, stuff like that, so that this way they cannot pee in the house. And every time after they eat and drink water, take them out quick and encourage them to pee.
Look, Michael also said that me and my wife got a Westie puppy 3 weeks ago, and your videos were really useful for the first week.
Oh, thank you.
Congrats. His name is Luca. That's a
Luca,
really
I
nice
love that
name.
name.
And we had a question which I said we would wait for. When
Hello from Paris, France. Hi, we were just there last December.
Just there.
Just there 4 months ago. Yeah, we were there.
I forgot. Somebody asked. Oh, Hannah asked, could I know the process you followed when you got Sami, and could you estimate the current cost if you want to buy a Westie? So, you say.
So where do I start? It was, for us, it was really difficult to find a Westie because there weren't many in Portugal. And at some point we found one in Spain, and it was a 3-month waiting list. I think he wasn't even born yet. So what I did was I emailed the what would you say, Clube de Canicultura, the National Club of Canine Club Association, like a kennel, in Portugal. And I emailed them and I asked them if they know of any certified breeder in Portugal. So they sent me a list of like 2 or 3 people who had puppies available. And I called each of them, and there was only one that was available, not reserved, not taken. And that was Sami.
And when we decided we want to get a Westie, I expected it to take 3 to 6 months. We basically got Sami in 10 days.
Can I say that I really, really wanted a dog, and he wanted to make me wait for 2 years
because we've been living in
we were traveling a lot,
and we've been living in Portugal for less than 6 months.
Yeah, we had just moved to Portugal.
This is why.
It's true.
I'm not a monster.
No, but he didn't quite, like, he wanted a dog eventually, but it was like it's not the right time. So he was like, let's wait for 2 years. And then eventually you accepted. But he was hoping that it's going to take a few months until we finally get a puppy, because it's so hard to find them. And I found Sami, I think in a week, we already had him. So from the moment I called, 10 days maybe. We went to see, I think we booked like in a few days after talking to the breeder, and we just went to see, no commitment.
Yeah, we went to see him, and actually, and this is a good thing to keep in mind, look at the behavior inside his environment. This breeder wasn't it was a person that had a Westie girl that had some puppies. They weren't breeding Westies.
She was a certified breeder though.
Yeah, but they weren't doing it like
as a business, like a puppy mill or something like that.
The puppies were living with their family, and what we noticed was that Sami was playing with the kid of the family, and he was pulling Sami's ears, his tail. It wasn't anything mean. They were playing, and Sami didn't act.
Didn't react in any way aggressively,
in any aggressive way.
He wasn't annoyed. He didn't snap.
And I said that because of that, it shows that he's probably a more calmer dog.
And socialized.
And socialized. Yeah, it had 2 dogs there. They had obviously his mom. They had
other breeds as well.
Yeah, and the bull terrier, I think.
Yeah, it was a bull terrier or an American pit bull.
Yeah. So look at all this kind of signs. We got him that day. Frankly, I don't know how much you would pay. You asked about the price.
Yeah, so we look, when I found a Westie in Spain, in Madrid, it was 1,000 euros. When I found Sami, it was 500 euros. So
Yeah.
Maybe because the guy in Madrid was breeding Westies and taking them to
we
shows.
wanted the Westie specifically. We didn't
Yeah.
want any other breed.
Yeah.
So because of that, especially in Portugal, there's no you can find them in
to adopt. We
or
tried to,
anything like
we
that.
looked on the websites. There was no
Yeah.
Westie up for adoption.
So look at that. Also, obviously, this comes with another set of problems, because if they weren't trained or anything like that, obviously this will bring their own set of problems. But yeah, we've heard of prices of £2,000 in the UK, to $2,500 in the US. I don't know. We don't know. We didn't know what to expect, but it was something that we were okay with at that moment.
Yeah. So
keep that in mind. And Karen says, I saw the real story about Sami, how no one wanted him. Well, it's not that no one wanted him. He was the last.
He was the last one. I think
we wanted him, so somebody wanted him. But he had like 5 brothers and sisters, and he was the last because, I don't know, he was the last.
I think they were 3.
And we were lucky.
I don't know if they were 5.
I thought 5.
Anyway, yeah, but the others were reserved, and yeah, we were super, super lucky. Somebody's asking, is flying, I'm going back to the flying, is flying with the doggy more stressful for him or for the humans? And of course, for us it's more stressful than for him. He's breezy. He doesn't seem to be bothered. He just goes to sleep and sleeps the whole flight. If you watch our videos, you can see him sleeping in his crate, in his carrier. For us, it's pretty stressful every time, because there's always that risk of maybe they won't let him in the cabin, because of his weight. His weight is really close to the weight limit, because some airlines have this policy where the dogs are supposed to be able to stand in the bag and turn around.
Stand on their legs, not stand on 2 legs.
Stand on 4 legs. And he can't, he can, but he touches the top of the carrier and his head is like this. He can't keep his head up because he's quite tall. So it is a little stressful, but it was always okay so far. So we are,
with the exception of, as
hopeful.
I told you, when they basically wanted to put Sami in the hold, and we said that we were in a layover actually, and we said that if they want to put Sami in the hold, we're basically not going to fly. Not going to continue our flight, and to give us our luggage. And probably, because you are allowed to stop flying, you don't need to fly the second leg of the flight. So,
and it was our last flight home too. It was our 4th flight out of
with the same airline.
With the same airline. So we went there on 2 flights, and then we came back 1 flight. We had a layover, and this was our last flight home. So it was pretty crazy what happened. Yeah.
So things can happen.
Yeah, it depends on the people. There's always somebody who might have had a bad day, but usually, aside from that one case, people were really, really nice. Does the dog have to be in a crate for the whole flight?
Sorry.
Yes.
Billy says, hello, where's Sami? Sami's here. I know you don't see him because of the pillows, but he's here. He's here. Look, he actually, look.
Give him a treat.
Sami.
Don't jump.
No.
To make him do something.
Yeah.
We don't give treats for free. He needs to always work for his treats.
Okay. Data. Hey, Data.
Hola.
Santa. Hola.
Now we're just confusing him.
Well done. Li Wen Chao asks if he's on the big side. Not really. We've seen Westie boys at 10, 11, 12 kilos. He's around 7.7, 7.6, 7.8.
He's small for a Westie male.
Yes. So
I've never met a Westie who was smaller than him. So I'm assuming he's small.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did.
We did see a Westie was smaller.
Smaller.
Yeah, but he's the weight is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were lucky because when we chose a Westie for our first dog, we wanted a dog that would be able to travel with us and travel on the plane in the cabin. So we needed a dog that wouldn't get too big, and we thought that a Westie would be a good choice for that. And in retrospect, I think we were just really lucky. Oh. He'll do anything for a treat. But I think that most Westie dog males can't really, I mean, are not under 8 kilos. So
Cole says, Cole says in the comments that, do you know how much you are doing to help people around the world? I'm telling you, Miruna.
Oh yeah, I saw. And I wanted to answer. Oh, thank you so much. It makes me so happy when I read comments like this. Really, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss.
Yes. So once we think, while as talking about the weight, as Sami gets older, he's probably gonna get a little bit more weight, and we know there is a point where we won't be able to take him on the flights with us.
He's now 4.5 years old. His weight pretty much stayed the same, but I know that they do tend to get to weigh more with age. So I guess we'll see about that. Yeah. So he's on a diet right now. So if you followed us on Instagram, you know that every time before each flight, we put him on a diet. It's nothing that drastic, you know. But what it is because he basically weighs 7.9 kilos or too close to 8. So we tried to get him down like 300 grams or something like that. So how we managed to do that is we start to give him less and less treats as the flight approaches. And the days before, like now, he doesn't get any treats at all. He just gets his normal food and some, vegetables or some home cooked meal on top, because otherwise he won't eat at all. And right before the flight, 12 hours, I'd say he doesn't eat. So, for example, now we're flying at 10 in the morning, so he's not going to have dinner the night before. And that was actually the advice that I got from the vet. She had this idea, and she said that it's okay, it's safe. They can go for this amount of time without eating. And right after we go through the check-in,
once the check-in is done, we give him food and water.
And water, yeah, but not a lot. So not a lot of food, and we take care with the water, because that was a question that I got a lot. How can he hold it for such a long time? And so first he's used to holding it throughout the day. So I don't think, he's doing a good job most of the time holding it for 8 hours. But also I try to not give him as much water, like not give him a lot of water, So I just give him controlled amount of water.
Helen is asking, she's asked a little bit earlier, do you have a first aid kit packed for Sami? If so, what's in it?
I don't have a first aid kit. I have some things that I always travel with whenever we go anywhere, which are, I have some chlorhexidine foam, which is great for cuts and any kind of wounds because it disinfects. I have antibiotic cream that I also apply in case he ever has a cut or something stuck in his paw. I apply that after disinfecting. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else.
Also, for people going from Europe to the States, get an insurance.
Yeah.
But so the prices in the States are crazy. I mean, the things you do for your dogs, people in the US, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, like
It's 10 times. Everything is
it's
10
10
times
times, yeah.
more expensive than our. Whenever I post that Sami had an X-ray or something, and people say the cost there, it's like 10 times more. US and Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, Australia as well, but yeah, we don't go to Australia.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
we're
we're getting an insurance for him.
Yeah.
To cover anything that could happen, any kind of accidents.
Because we're also quite quick to take Sami to the vet whenever something happens, and this is something we got used to in Portugal because the prices are okay, and then you need to take that into consideration when you go to the States. Obviously, we have travel insurance as well for ourselves because it's the same.
It's the same
thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we take him to the vet for a lot of things. Like if you watch our videos, you saw that at some point he did the reverse sneezing last summer, and we got super scared because we didn't know what it was. We thought he was having like a seizure or something. So we ran to the vet with him. At some point he had a cold and he was sneezing nonstop. We went to the vet with him. So we're used to just taking him to the vet whenever something is wrong, because you never know how bad it could be.
And also we're in this
It's
way.
our first dog.
I had a dog. I had dogs when I was a kid, but obviously I didn't really manage anything about them. It was about my family.
Yeah.
So
we're still learning.
Yeah. Where do you get pumpkin treats? Brian Marks asked.
Oh, they're not actually. It's just pumpkin that I got.
Boiled?
I know it's roasted this time. I sometimes boil it,
Okay,
but
you showed it to him.
Oh.
Santa.
So
Santa.
yeah, it's just
Okay.
I don't know if in the US you can actually find pumpkin. That's going to be interesting to see now when we travel, because I give him pumpkin a lot, and the way I buy it is just cubes of raw pumpkin, which I roast or boil, and that's how I feed it to him. But in the US, I think you have a lot of canned pumpkin, because a lot of recipes for dog treats mention canned pumpkin, and I cannot find that here. Like the only type of canned pumpkin that I can find has a lot of sugar in it, and I think it's for desserts. I don't think it's the same.
Yeah, Helen says that she gave her Westie the canned pumpkin too.
Okay, so
we're gonna see.
Is
that.
it? I assume it's no sugar, because they're not allowed sugar.
Somebody asked.
Less treats, poor thing. Oh.
Somebody asked. Liwen asked, "What made you decide to go to Canada?"
That's actually a good question.
Yeah, what made you decide?
This is actually one of our bandanas that we make.
It has two sides.
It has two sides. Look up. And it's actually we are a team. We teamed up with Bobby's cousin and his wife. His wife is a clothes designer. She makes clothes for kids, and she's really, really talented and passionate. So we teamed up with them, and she makes the bandanas, and we have a website, dogbandana.com, where you can see all of the models we have. And this year we're gonna have some new ones. It's exciting, and we're gonna let you know soon.
Maria is telling us that Reiki, her Westie, is growling at the TV because you gave Sami pumpkin. He didn't offer her any. Pat is telling us that the emergency vets in the States are $350 before they touch the dog. And also about the pumpkin, Mealy and also Pat, they're telling us make sure the canned pumpkin in North America is not for pies. And
because that's the sugar one.
Yes.
Okay.
And Pat also suggests pumpkin puree and not pumpkin pie can.
Oh, okay, so puree. Yeah. So we cannot find that here at all. Yeah. So wow, emergency vets are $350. So we paid so a normal checkup, a normal consultation is $30. We pay $30. Some clinics is $35. Yeah.
And €50 additional for the emergency.
We paid actually $60 in total for the emergency at one hospital.
Really?
Yeah, because we went to because we had various emergencies, and
he he goes into trouble on Sundays in particular.
Always on Sundays that something happens and we need to take him to, or after 9 p.m. At some point when he was a puppy, and this is the craziest emergency vet story that Sami's had. He was, I don't know how old he was. He must have been like less, like 6 months or something like that. And he started to foam at the mouth and he had blood, so imagine white foam and blood. And he was doing this.
Yeah, we had it for like 2-3 weeks at the most.
No, he was that? No. He was a few months. So, wait. So it was like 9 p.m. The vet was closed. So we took him, we went in the car, we drove him to the vet. What's happening? Oh my God. And what was happening was he was losing teeth. And one of his back teeth was not quite, didn't fall completely. It was still hanging in there. And that's why he was doing the thing with the mouth. And that's why he was foaming and the whole thing. So it could have been a simple solution. We could have just checked his mouth and
pulled the teeth.
But we didn't because we thought it was something else. Yeah.
So, cool. Other questions? We're coming on the hour, guys. And we know that, again, today is like Easter day. And we don't want to take a lot more of your time. So it's our first live. We want to do more of these, like at least once every 2-3 months, if not more often than that. So even if we didn't answer some questions that you wanted to, we're going to do for sure another live, at least in 6 to 8 weeks from now, when we come back from the States and we've taken a little bit of time to breathe again.
But until then, so we are gonna be in New York for a whole month. And if if you live in New York or nearby, let us know. We're gonna do a Westie meetup at some point. I don't know yet when. It's probably gonna be on a Saturday. But I'll let you know.
In 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, maybe in 2 weeks from now, so that we can recover from the jet lag. And I'd love to see you there if you live there. Let us know, what should we see while we're in New York? Where should we go with Sami? I already have a list of dog-friendly restaurants and cafes that people recommended. I'm super excited to take Sami. Let us know, what other places should we take him to? Hey, let's see if he'll speak.
Okay.
Abóbora. So ironically, the command for speak is the same word for pumpkin in Portuguese.
Yeah.
Don't ask. It's there's no particular reason for it.
There is. When he speaks, he sounds, for us, it sounds like he says abóbora.
Abóbora. Abóbora. Abóbora. Abóbora. Ladra. 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 Okay.
And just so you know, Sami is actually a multiple language speaker. He speaks Portuguese because he's born in Portugal. He speaks English. He speaks Romanian because his parents are Romanian and they speak in Romanian a lot to him. And he has commands in Greek.
He has one command in Greek,
and in Italian.
Yeah, which is pizza. So it's international.
Yes. So
thank you so much for joining us.
You've been amazing. We didn't expect to have so many questions.
Yeah, to have so many people joining.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk to you again in about 2 months, and hopefully we'll come back and tell you how that our trip went well, and that we made so many plans for nothing. But we love to be prepared, and during this time, obviously, check
our Instagram. We're gonna post there daily. Here on YouTube, we're posting weekly videos. We're gonna be showing you everything that we're gonna do in New York. So yeah.
And he wants out.
He wants to go out
again. Cool.
Thank you so much for watching.
Have a great Easter.
Have a great Easter and weekend, and see you. Bye.
And street.
Bueno, like,